Hi, happy Monday. This is Kelly. I am coming to you from the Dominican Republic. Today I'm coming to you from my office, which may seem like a strange place to talk here by myself. I figured it's a good time to get this done. I have had some questions about that, so I'll just jump right in and tell you what my observations are, kind of what I notice and what other people are talking about. So if you are coming to the Dominican Republic as a foreigner, as an immigrant, expat, I would say, of course I'm speaking from the woman's point of view, but I guess from either side, you want to be mindful about what the culture is here, what the customs are like as far as how people interact when they're dating. In my estimation, people in this country, as in many others, which are not really rich countries, tend to couple up pretty young. So you'll find lots and lots and lots of 20-year-olds who are married with children. They may not all be married, but they mostly have at least one child by their 20s. And I think they do that for a variety of reasons. One, I think it's just very cultural. Family is huge here. Religion is a big deal. So, and it's a very religious, Christian Catholic country. And so the church, of course, is saying, if you want to fornicate, you need to be married. And although that rule doesn't apply across the board, I think just a lot of people, there's sort of a bifurcation in terms of what they want to do in terms of what the church says or what is customary and then what actually happens. So lots of people do hook up and start families really young. So if you are like a 20-something-year-old, you're coming here on like a vacation, a break type of a thing, that's one thing, right? You're gonna just have a fling. I mean, that can happen anywhere. And honestly, you may have a fling with someone who has 2 kids at home, and that's your choice. I mean, there's a lot of conversation around that. But that's individual if people want to do that or ask questions or not. If, however, you're looking for something more substantial, then it's still something to be mindful of, but, if you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s on up, know that probably if you're dating someone, they either already have a partner or they did have a partner, and, there's some kind of ties. I found very few truly single people, I'd say 30s and up with no kids, no exes, no current partner or anything like that. That's just kind of how it is. So something to be mindful of. There's also the possibility, before I leave that, so I will say then, of course, that a lot of foreigners who come here, so there's like older women who date younger men because a lot of times they just want a kind of a hot young guy. And obviously I've talked before about the older men who come and date these very young women. In both cases, it's typically, and I'm talking about usually white foreigners who come, although it could be black people too, but not black people from this country. So whether they're Europeans or Canadians or Americans or what have you, South Americans, if that's happening, usually there's a deal in place, right? And it's, I don't know how spoken it is, if it's just outright or if it's just understood that, if I am the older woman and I'm looking for a young guy, then I'm going to be paying for dinner, I'm going to be paying for drinks, I'm going to be paying for everything. I don't think it's because these men have no sense of chivalry. Excuse me. It's because they don't have any money. And it's because the economy pays them very, very little. Minimum wage is like, I want to say it's like $2 and some change an hour. It's very, very low. And so it's just not reasonable or rational. They're not going to take you on a fancy date. If you want to go to a nice restaurant as an American woman or American or European man or what have you, you're going to pay. Now, what do you get in exchange? Well, it's usually sex. And that's what people want because the people here are beautiful by and large. I mean, they take average way up. The average person is just good looking here. And so it's easy to be attracted to people. But as I said before, many of the people that you may find yourself attracted to already are involved in the area, in a little beach town. And I think that's true for pretty much anywhere, but certainly there are more professionals in the capital, in Santo Domingo, in cities like Santiago. It's the second largest. Men and women and find Dominicans and they get married and it's a good situation, or at least, they get married. And sometimes, the person they marry wants to leave the country, and that's part of the incentive. To be able to go to Europe or America or what have you. And other times, they just get married, I guess, because they love each other, which is great. What those situations are as far as the Dominicans, if they do have, a significant other and they're just ditching them, I don't know all those particulars, right? That's very individual, but that happens. So, so also dating websites are a thing here, just like they are in any other place. There's a Latin American match.com. And I don't know if it's country specific or if it's just sort of the region, but that exists. I think that's more like professionals and people, I think just like Match in other countries. If you're looking for a more substantial relationship, I think that's the site. Tinder and whatever those other sites are, I think typically are more for if you just want, like I know some people who've gone on Tinder, excuse me, who were just visiting the country and they just wanted to hook up. And I guess I don't really know that what actually happened, but I think that they're able to find people to, like they just want a young lady, a hot young Latina to meet me at my hotel in Punta Cana and blah, blah, blah. I do know about that happening. So anyway, there are those options, and whatever you want out of it is what you want, and what you get is what you accept. So that's my little 2 cents for today, to respond to some people who had questions about dating. I would say, mind your P's and Q's, be careful, be smart, be aware, just like in any other place. Some people are going to tell you, no, I'm single, I don't have any kids, and then of course they do. There's somebody else in the background. And sometimes the significant other, the boyfriend, the girlfriend, the husband, wife, whatever, knows that their man or their woman is out there doing this, and it's okay, in a sense it's understood. I'll put it that way, it's understood because it's part of what is required to help the family. They need some money to help, pay for the house or put the kids in school or whatever, put some food on the table. And so those are some tough choices, but it does happen. There's a movie shot here recently in my town about a girl who was doing just that, and she actually had, I don't know if I call them real relationships, but she was involved to an extent with like a man, an older like French guy, and then also a woman. And at least when she was with the man, I think the man gave her, she was like admiring his gold chain, so he gave it to her, and she immediately took it. They showed a scene where she immediately hopped on her scooter and took it to her boyfriend, and they took it to the person who like waited to see how heavy it was, and they got some money for it. And so that absolutely happens. And so a lot of these guys, the boyfriends will say, okay, go get with that old gringo and see what you can get. And so that's what goes on. All right, so hope that helps if anybody's thinking about how to manage a relationship or dating out here. Again, I'd say like any place else, just, take your time, be careful, have fun, but keep your eyes open about what's going on. All right, I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.